This is the outside of my bow shop. Coming down the stairs, window, upstairs window. The upstairs studio will be a bunkie and where I fletch and do leather work. The downstairs of my bow shop, entrance to my gym. Double doors in, or for working, bringing the quad into work, moving lumber in and out, or supplies, or just needing extra space to work. Continuing on. My quad under the deck. Entryway to the top. Door, window, and then if you look back further, there's my house right there. So nice and close, easy to get at. Sorry for the rain on the lenses. Trying to avoid that. We'll come inside through the weight room door. There's my dumbbells, my master breaker, some U-wood that I'm working down, my universal gym, my a weight tree, extra bench. Here's my Alaskan mill on the ground. Lack of another place to store it currently. My bench press with some belts and a stereo system. Can't have a gym without a stereo. Chin-up bar and mezzanine rack to store additional items in. So there is my weight room. That door leads inside to the bowyers shop, and that's where we'll go right now. So we're into the bow shop, and we start by coming to the rigid bandsaw. I have double doors to open for working with longer plank lengths. I have my vise on a portable round log in order to work on longer projects or whatever I need to, versatility. I have my tillering tree. That's where all the tillering happens. Currently, my bow with a kell is sitting here because I'm going to do another short video on that later on. My arrow rack, which I'll get to later. Bow tools. Over here I have my Ipe hickory bow on the tillering stick. In the process of tillering that out. Spare bandsaw blade, more U-wood for working, and so on and so forth. We get into the actual workings of the shop, and when I built this shop, I had decided to build it large. Well, once moving in materials and tools and everything, it's not so large anymore. It is 20 foot by 14 foot, so it is rather large, but can always use more space. So I got my grinder for knife making or broadhead tip making or whatever I need to do by the double door, so I can simply turn it and shoot the sparks outside. Makes very convenient. I've got air compressor underneath that for cleaning up, filling tires, doing whatever, servicing my quad. Heater on the wall, ladder stand. Up above here is, let's see if I can back up and show you, my mezzanine. There's spruce in various stages of production for arrow shafts, curing staves, or ready to work staves actually. Over there, curing staves. So as everything is ready to work, it works towards the center, the spruce and the U-wood. So that is where my materials are ready to be grabbed and used. Basic workshop stuff, hammers, saws, levels, squares, nails, screws, etc. A mold form for making laminate bows. Down here, my dust collection system, chop saw, sanders, another sander, drill press. Come over to this in the corners, my vacuum system. Then there's my Dremel, work tool, working on tips or antler or whatever I need to. General work table. Right now you can see I've got like just a mess on top there, and I have actually a hickory takedown bow that I'm working on in a clamp to put the recurve in. So what I did was I warmed that in the hot box. I have a 300-watt bulbs in the hot box with reflective tape inside. That will pre-warm the wood to work with. Then I brought the wood down, clamped it up, hit it with a heat gun on the hickory, because hickory is not really steaming wood, it's more of a heat gun wood, and clamped it down into place as I heated each limb. So I should get some nice reflex set in those limbs. It was at a floor-tillered state. Then I have just general storage of all sorts of things. Bins, storage bins, what have you. I have in the middle of the floor here, I'll back up to show it, that is my arrow making jig. So what I do is I take square stock, just 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch square. Let's get that in the camera lens here. There we go, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch square. I chuck that up into this drill, which is sitting on a rail system. It slides forward, slides the stock through the guide block, through, I have 3 different Lee Valley doweling jigs. Those 3 jigs spin to the 3 different sizes, 11/64, 23/32, and 5/16. I also have a 3/8 one for really heavy stock, but it's not one of these jigs, it's just a tenon tool. Anyway, then as you can see, I have an arrow in here for demonstration purposes. It comes out of the machine, and these blocks keep the spinning arrow from shearing off because the centrifugal force of the spinning can send it pretty wild. Then I simply take the saw, cut it off, move the arrows over. I take sandpaper in a leather wrap, and using standardized drill, I chuck up and spin the shafts. The shafts then get sanded to various smoothnesses, and I throw them on my ACE spine tester until I get the weight that I want. Then they go into the rack that we saw when we first came in, and in the different denominations. I have it set up in poundages ranging as heavy as 65 plus, all the way down as light as 35. Although I found with the Sitka spruce that I don't really get too many in the 35 range, even with the 5/16. It's pretty much 45 and heavier. So that being said, that is essentially my bow shop. So I do my glue ups over in the hot box on the press. This whole unit can be seated into the glue box. And I do have a system up there, once again, at the top that I showed you earlier, a form system that can fit in the heat box as well, just barely. And I have an air hose compression tool for doing glass laminates. I don't do a lot of them. I was playing around with some new materials, and here is one that I made up. There's a reflex deflex in it using a U-wood riser and a hemp wrap riser on both sides, using some Osage tip overlays. Nothing spectacular, just a little target bow, but just to show that I can do fiberglass layups and whatever. But that's just playing around. I don't like the fiberglass, to be honest. Everybody does the fiberglass, so I tend to stray away from it. But it is a skill that every bowyer should know. So that's it. That's essentially the tour of the bow shop. So there you have it. That's my bow shop that I'm working at.